Yeah, obviously a game changer in so many ways. People ask me all the time what I think and try to think a lot of things. But one, I think I found the location on campus, right? A lot of people have amazing facilities, but they're not on campus. I mean, as you guys know, we're sitting here right in the middle of campus, basically. Short walk to Jester and all the other dorms. A great walk from West Campus, too. You know, one of the things with the Irwin Center was always, it wasn't necessarily the distance, but it was crossing, was that MLK and 15th and all that. But this is like a straight shot, you know. I think all those kids living in West Campus can just basically walk to the tower and then just walk to Moody. So I think the location's awesome. Two, obviously the commitment to put our students in the best seats in the arena is it's a big move. A lot of people don't do this. You know, you build these type of arenas, then, you know, simply stated, you got, you know, the donors and people like that normally get the best seats. So I think the commitment from our, you know, administration, the people like Matthew and Charles that helped build this, certainly the Moody family. I think the original idea was to give the students 80 degrees or 270 degrees of the 360. So that's pretty cool. We're looking forward to that. We were already working really hard this summer on, you know, how to fill that consistently. That there's going to be 1,250 seats for the students in the lower level. And with the band and cheer and other people, that's going to be the lower level student section. Then we have the overflow up top that's also going to be a cool area. If you guys haven't been up there yet, I encourage you to go up there. But it's going to be basically like a second student section. It's going to be up top. They have their own, you know, concession stand / bar up there. And so I think just the venue is cool. But the two things I keep coming back to is the location and then the commitment to give our students the best seats. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see how this thing plays out. I'm sure we'll have challenges along the way, but I think, you know, in a lot of ways, this arena could be a game changer for us. And certainly the practice facility. I don't know if you guys have all been in that yet. We're literally days away is what it feels like from being in there, and we'll do the same thing there. When it opens up, we'll have you guys out the very first day we can to watch practice there. But the location from game day arena and practice facility, it's pretty special. There's not a lot of places like this around the country.
How do you feel about, now that you've seen it, how do you feel about the sideline of the Champaign and being in the window of the backcourt?
Haven't noticed it like that. Am looking forward to seeing what you know, Matthew does up there on game day and his group. That's going to be pretty cool. Kind of glancing up there and seeing what's going on in there. We've run recruits through there a little bit. It's an impressive space. Sounds like a little mini Vegas nightclub up there.
You're not worried about the actual visuals of what guys see when they go to the line? Or anything?
No, it's a home court advantage.
How long do you think it'll take the team to truly get acclimated with it is a home court advantage?
It's a good question. Trying to think if I've ever been a part of something like this in my coaching career, opening a new facility, game day facility. I don't necessarily think so off the top of my head, but yeah, we're gonna have to get in here and we're gonna have to work a lot, shoot a lot, spend a lot of time in here. You know, you look at our early schedule, which we're really proud of. You know, I think we'll play one of the best schedules in college basketball this year. It's the way it should be at Texas. But you know, we gotta make sure that the event doesn't become more important than the 40-minute game.
Last year you had a lot more veterans on the team, now it's sort of a younger team. How do you think that changes the way you coach?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I would respectfully kind of disagree. I think we, you know, we have 7 veterans on this team. I haven't done all the analytics and stuff. I'm sure somebody will. It'll be interesting, but I would think that we're going to be one of the most experienced teams in college basketball again. And then just with just pure age, you know, guys being 22 and 23 instead of 19, 20. I think we'll be an older team, and I think we'll have the experience we were looking for. You know, we've got 7 veterans on this team. 5 of those guys played here at Texas last year, and all 5 were in the rotation. All 5 played meaningful minutes in our NCAA tournament games. So we returned 5 of our best players off a good team last year. A team that will always, you know, kind of be in my heart. I was talking to Brian about it the other day, actually, and just respect our first team. Appreciative of those guys that endured the coaching change and guys that trusted us. And, you know, we were good. If things would have felt a little bit different for us, we were, you know, obviously a second weekend type team. And when you get there, you know, you're a couple games away from making lifelong memories. So I think last year, to think about, we were a good team. I don't think anybody would argue with that. We have 5 of the best players on that team returning. All 5 guys have really improved too. I think there's going to be a different Marcus Carr on the court, a different Brock, a different Dylan, a different Timmy, and that's been exciting to think about it. They're going to be almost like new players out there. The other 2 guys that complete the 7 veterans, are the 2 transfers in the portal that were really our first choices. It's almost like we were in the lottery and we got the first pick and the second pick. That's how strongly we feel about it. And both guys are winners, right? Above all, Rice played in NCAA tournament games, championship games at New Mexico State for a great coach, and Chris Jans and Miller and Anwar and those guys. And he's just a winner. And certainly Tyrese, we saw his journey firsthand, right? I think they were picked, last in the league, and they ended up being a Sweet 16 team, and Tyrese was the freshman of the year in the toughest league in college basketball. So those 7 veterans, 5 returners, and 2 guys, I think, keep us experienced and keep us old enough to compete. And then we love the youth, the balance in it. This is basically our first recruiting class at Texas in terms of freshmen coming in here and having an impact. We're really proud of the 4 guys in this year's class, and then also the redshirt guys like Cole and Gavin last year. But those 7 freshmen, there's some real talent in there, and a couple of those guys will be on the floor early.
You mentioned the experienced guys we talked to, kind of like new players. Marcus may have a more different role than he's ever had. How have you seen him adjust over the course of this offseason, even after he operated in 3 guards?
Yeah, no, Marcus has been great. Marcus was really kind of the lead recruiter getting Tyrese and Rice to trust us here. And so it's a players program. Marcus and I have always been connected. We have a relationship. When the season ended, it's always emotional. All seasons are emotional. And so you just take a couple days, you take some time. But in today's world with media, social media, here comes the narrative. And me and Marcus just said, hey, take some time, I'll take some time, we'll talk. And Marcus took some time, and he considered different options. He obviously had different options, professional basketball. But I think he found great value in coming back. And, I don't want to speak for Marcus, but we have a vision for him to have his best year he's ever had, and for him to be the best version of himself. And I think certainly playing with Tyrese is going to allow Marcus to be the best version of himself. We all know he's a scorer. That's also a point guard mentality. So having those 2 guys out there together, 2 veteran guards, it's going to be great. I think Tyrese is going to make Marcus better, and I think Marcus will give Tyrese a chance to have his best year.
Plus with Dylan and Terry over here, how have they been fitting in so far, and what have you seen from them in person?
Yeah, the freshmen have been great. Rowan and Alex and Terrio and D. Mitch, as we call them. We got the name with. This is a funny thing, Coach. You got 2 Dylans, right? Dylan DeSue, Dylan Mitchell. That's a problem. So, the first thing you do is you go, does anybody have a nickname they bring in? Not really. And so I think the closest thing we had was D. Mitch. The nickname's got to stick to you. Like you can't force it, right? So first thing is you ask the person, are you okay with it? Players, but GAs and managers, we don't care if you're okay with it. We have, Elton John, we have Dirty, we have Fireball. It doesn't matter. Like, that's your name if you don't like it, Players, though, we're interested in the player kind of wanting to like his name. So we went D. Mitch on that, Dylan DeSue, and then D. Mitch. The other one we had is this one's crazy. So we have Marcus Carr on the team, and we have Brock Cunningham on the team, 2 of my all-time favorites. And then John Riley hires our assistant strength coach this year, special guy, played college basketball in Incarnate Word, special guy from San Antonio, and his name is Marcus Brock. So this is a real problem, Marcus, 2 guys run to you. Marcus Brock, 3 guys run to you. Brock, 2 guys. So we had to figure this out, and he's from Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word, that's too long, too chopped, too much. I love Incarnate Word, my first coaching job. Cardinal, I don't know. He doesn't really look like a Cardinal. Then we started thinking San Antonio. We tried San Antonio, but it didn't stick. It's just too much, double names. So then I came up with it, Alamo. And so Alamo is sticking. Our assistant strength coach this year at the University of Texas is Alamo. So I don't know where we got off tangent there, but there you go. It's summertime. Yeah, summertime.
You got guys like TJ Ford kind of hanging out around practice. How much of a luxury, I guess, is it perhaps somebody like him that played here and just kind of, take Marcus or Tyrese or whoever and just chat with them and be like, hey, I saw this, and, I did it. They're going to listen to a guy like that. And just how much of a luxury is it to have somebody like that around the program?
Yeah, I think twofold. One, that's our whole objective, year one, unite the family. There was nothing more important. Student attendance, winning some games on the court, getting some guys graduated. But that unite the family was real, and we're still in the early stages of it. We're 1 year in. LaMarcus Aldridge was here yesterday. Doge Balbay was here earlier this summer. I've gotten some great texts this week from former players, not only in my era of Coach Penders, but also Coach Barnes, and Shaka's been great. And so it's important. It's a players program. It's the way that, when you get a job, you visualize how it could be on all cylinders. And when you think about the Texas job, the first thing that kind of came to mind is like the power of the brand and the power of all our former players. Can we get everybody back under one umbrella or whatever? And so that's to unite the family. And so it's important. Nothing's more important. When those former players come back, it means the world to us. And I think all of our eyes naturally kind of go to the NBA greats, but it's not just about that either. It's about the guys out there. We got guys coaching, running businesses, playing professional ball in Europe. We got all sorts of former players. The success stories are off the charts. So as we continue to build the program, to me, that's the secret. If we can get Texas united, then I think, we can compete at the highest level. Secondly, and specifically about TJ, this isn't just a former player that drops by. This is a guy that's in the inner circle of what we do. I think I've said it before, but this year showing up to the press conference and even the night before the press conference, TJ had driven down to Houston to be there to support us, and it meant the world to me. First place I came when we got to Austin is we went to the tower to see President Hartzell and those guys, and TJ was there. And I still get somewhat emotional thinking about that. He didn't have to do that. So that meant the world to me. And from there, I'm just trying to do everything I can to make him proud, like him and all the other former players. But TJ's been great. He's one of the all-time greats that ever played the game, think the game, develop players. I consider him a friend. I consider him somebody I can lean on. I trust him, and he's been a great part of our program.
How would you evaluate your push-up?
Okay. Not well. I don't know. As you get older, we don't. Just a few of us in here. A lot of young people in here. Like your body starts breaking down on you a little bit. And I remember my old man. I just vividly, growing up, he would play 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 with us. Then he started getting a little bit older, and then we just played like more horse. He used to be like we'd play street football together, and he would play. And then later in life, he became the all-time quarterback. We could rush him, and by the end, we couldn't rush him. He was the all-time quarterback, and I just remember thinking, man, my dad was getting soft. He wasn't getting soft. He's getting old. Things break down on you a little bit. So right now, I've got an issue with my left wrist. I don't even really remember when or how it happened, but I think I've got something going on here. So when the push-up form, this is a problem. Now, I can do 5 to 10 push-ups, no problem, but like CB gets up there today, and I think he was messing with me. We get to 15, 20 push-ups, the left wrist is a problem. Other than that, and I think the form's decent, but the left wrist is an issue.
What about RT, the players team,
Yeah, I will never, you don't never say that. Like I had a great English teacher, I think in junior high, in the multiple choice questions, and I paid attention that day, and she said if it's a true false question, if you ever see every, never, always, it's always false, because there's nothing that's, you know what I mean, And so, but the one thing I will never do, and never is a strong word, I will never be critical of the GOAT, Rodney Terry. Yeah, Rodney Terry gets the ultimate respect in this program, so I have nothing critical to say about Rodney Terry.
Looking at the schedule, obviously there's the highlight game that helps open the place, but some of the neutral site games, you go to the Garden, go to Dallas, and then go to Edinburgh. Just kind of what your thoughts on all 3 of those and the impact it has on your schedule?
Yeah, I like our schedule. We open it up. UTEP, a team that's very, very well coached by Joe Golding, a team that will be in the running for their conference championship this year, a team that had an incredible turnaround last year, certainly with the RT's foundation, right? And that's why I like guys like Joe Golding. They kind of remember where they come from. The coach that never says anything about the last coach, it's always kind of burned me a little bit. I know we had a great year last year, and Shaka was a big part of that. So UTEP is a great first opponent. I think there's 3 teams in Texas that have played for the national championship. 2 have won it. Texas Tech played for it. I was at that game. Baylor played for it and won it, and UTEP played for it and won it. And so to get UTEP in here, Texas, just kind of feels right for the first game, and we're appreciative of UTEP coming and opening the arena. We'll have to play very, very well that night. UTEP is a really good team. Then you got, some name teams coming in with Gonzaga and Creighton. I think just excited for our fans. We've got an early season game, I think, in Gregory Gym, which last year was a student-only game. The vision was always to kind of alternate years. This year, the students will be the priority, but I think it's coming off maybe the Thanksgiving break or something like that. So we'll be able to let normal is not the word. Nobody normal in Austin. General people, non-students that maybe couldn't get into Gregory last year will have a portion of the Gregory Gym that night. So it'll be a student-only game some years, but some years we'll allow other people to come if that makes sense. So the idea to go south is great. Edinburgh kind of copied that idea from baseball, going down there and having a great showing of Longhorn Nation and Texas fans down there. We want to take the show on the road. We want to play in Houston really soon. That's a priority in our 23 schedule. This year we will get to Dallas to play a Pac-12 team, and then we'll go south to South Texas. Will we play in Edinburgh every year? Most likely no. Never say never, except I'll never say anything critical about Rodney Terry. But we visualize going different places. I know we've talked to the people in Killeen about maybe playing in the military base. Certainly we want to have our presence in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, but I think, the University of Texas needs to play all over our state. So this year we start that vision of what the schedule should look like. Madison Square Garden will always make sense. We do want to play in the Garden every year that we possibly can. And so we're glad to go there this year and play what'll be a top 5, top 10 Illinois team. Really, really good team. So, you think about the teams in our league and you think about the teams in our non-conference schedule. I think it might be a deal where you look back and we play the top 10 teams in the country this year, depending on what kind of run we can put together in March.
Let's go. 2 last ones, please.
I know you want this to be an intimidating place. That works from the outset. How long do you think it takes to develop that kind of culture?
It takes time. It's a process. To me, it's going to start with the student body, and then it's going to start with our loyal season ticket holders. I'll say this, change is hard. I've gotten a lot of personal communication this year with longtime season ticket holders in the Irwin Center. And, anytime you make changes, it's hard. Growth is hard. But I really want to thank all the people. I've gotten so many kind notes and texts and calls about people understanding that the transition from the Irwin Center to the Moody isn't going to be perfect in a lot of ways for every person, because there's nothing perfect in this world, nothing. But I think our fans have been great. I mean, I've gotten some just emotional letters I literally save in an old school file of people that I'm reaching out to over time that have really, we tried in the transition. Obviously, there's a lot of things that I'm not involved in, that kind of stuff, but I know we trying to do the best we can to create an environment here where as many people can come to these games. I understand the question, though, and I don't shy away from it. It's like, and I think it's one of the challenges of coaching at a place like Texas, because we have all the resources. We have one of the best academic institutions in the world, if not the best. We have one of the best cities, if not the best. We have the best facilities. In a lot of ways, we have the best players and best resources. So to do that, there's a responsibility. You got to understand that everybody's coming after you. And, I think that's the big thing. I'm really excited about how nice the lounges and all this are, but we also have to have an environment. That 40 minutes has to be more important than the event. And I think that's going to be a process to get there. But I think it'll all start with our students. I'm so thankful for the relationship we built with the students the first year. And obviously things like the fireside chats and things like the party at the tower and open practices, we're going to continue to do that. First day of school is the 22nd. We got the golf cart already gassed up, and I'll be on campus all day that day, welcoming the students back. But I think that's the whole thing. I think when we're sitting here in the future, whether that's 90 days, 1,090 days, years from now, I think if the students, do what we need them to do, we want them to do, then I think this could become one of the best atmospheres in college basketball.
Last one today, Coach.
The Mitch, Ontario, what do they bring? And, talking to some of the guys saying, these guys are pretty special, and they've already kind of started to show it.
Yeah, sorry, I think I got diverted the first time you kind of asked that. So the freshmen have all been great. the first thing that's very recognizable with them is they've connected with each other, and that's special. I've been talking to guys like T.J. Ford and Royal Ivy and guys like that about Final Four teams kind of bond together and stick together. I know our championship teams over the years have had that same DNA, so the freshmen have all kind of bonded together. It's been pretty cool to see. They're all obviously special guys. They're going to be leaders in time, some of them sooner than later. But to me, the first thing in being a leader is you got to be a follower. Like, you got to follow at some point to learn how to lead. And ultimately, the best leaders pick and choose their times to follow, too. And I've seen that in all these guys. They're all very aggressive. They all have identities as powerful players, but they have humility about them off the court and stuff. And so I think the relationship between the older guys and younger guys right now has been really impressive. You can't really force those things. It has to happen naturally, and it has this summer. Specifically with their games, Dylan Mitchell's a versatile player. He's really a positionless guy, that word that always comes up, but he really is. He can guard probably 5 positions. He can play probably 4 positions on offense. His athleticism doesn't define him. He's a really good basketball player, too. He loves the game. He's one of those guys that's always in a good mood. He's got a scary ceiling. Terrio is also an explosive athlete that can do a lot of things with the ball. I've been so impressed with him this summer on the court, with just kind of his willingness to try to learn defensively. He's made some growth there. And he's a shot maker. And so those two things can get those guys on the floor early when they have defined roles. Rowan's a guy that, he's just a lot like myself. He's a basketball lifer. He doesn't like this game. He doesn't even love this game. He's addicted to it. And so he's a guy that I just, I really believe in Rowan. I think there could be a role for him early because he's a talented player, but I think down the line he could be, a guy that could make a lot of money playing basketball. He's got a great IQ. He's point guard. And then Alex is really a break that we got this spring with the SMU coaching change. When Alex went to the portal, we were familiar with him, having seen their team play a lot. It's a state championship team. Coach West does a great job. And so we were just fortunate to get Alex late. He's an elite athlete, an even better person, high character. And he made a couple plays when you guys came in the day. I don't know if you saw the putback early, but he's a fantastic player. But those 4 freshmen in this year's class, I'm not forgetting anybody, right? Are really good players. Good players, great people. It's going to be a good class. If we can start putting classes like that on top of each other, then I think we can get the program to the point where we all want it to be.
What's his legal situation?
Yeah, so on that one, there's not much I can say, but I can say very clearly again, as soon as we heard about the situation, Terrio himself being very transparent, we immediately turned that into the appropriate channels. And so that thing is in the Title IX office, hands at the University of Texas. They make a lot of the decisions on what day-to-day looks like that moving forward. We just trust the process. And so that's about all I can say, but as soon as new information comes out, we'll be the first to show you guys that. Yeah.
Thanks all.
Appreciate it.